Good afternoon, everyone. Next Generation Weather Forecaster Joe Shaka here at StormChaserJS.com. Here is now major Hurricane Florence. Now, this is a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 130 miles an hour at the 5 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center, moving to the northwest at about 14 miles an hour. And this is one heck of a show. I mean, this was never forecasted to get this strong this far east, and maybe not even ever. But again, hurricanes, model intensity and forecasting these storms and rapid feedback intensification is something we have very little skill at forecasting in most cases. So that was a great example of what you saw here. That this was supposed to be a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm, and now it is more than double that in intensity now, and that was just from a few days ago. But anyway, you can see this very, very deep convection, very well-defined warm core eye, and just look at these very, very deep convection wrapping around it. It continues to move off to the northwest again around 14 miles an hour, and this is going to be a real problem in the forecast. So we're going to look at a lot of this guidance over the next few minutes or so here. And each day I plan on looking at more and more guidance as we get closer and closer, and hopefully have a better idea of how exactly the forecast for Florence is going to go. But again, you can see very, very well-defined major Category 4 hurricane there moving off to the northwest. Now, looking here at the 12Z GFS, I want to start with the surface parameters at hour 12. You can see this is where the model is initializing Florence at 8 p.m. this evening. I don't know, about maybe 45, some mid-40s west, and looks like a little bit north of 20 north approximately over here. So you can see, and I'm going to do a little case study to see how well the models are doing at 8 o'clock this evening. Where's the position of Florence in relationship of where the models were forecasting Florence to be at 8 o'clock this evening. So here we go out to 36 hours. You can see at the surface here is Florence here. Let me go to 60 hours. You can see where Florence is here. Again, this is all the 12Z GFS. Let's jump to 84 hours. You can see Florence there. We jump out to 108 hours, and here we are by Sunday evening. Now you can see where the GFS has Florence right there. Let's jump over here to our 132, which is Monday evening. You can see where it has it here, 60 west, and probably roughly around 30 north. Let's go here to our 156. You can see here's where Florence is, and now this is when things get really interesting, really this weekend, and we're going to take a look here at some of the upper dynamics. Now that you saw basically at the surface where Florence is going to be tracking at the surface. So let me pull up here the 500 millibar pattern here. Let me see if I have the right one selected. I'll go back over here and get this right here, the vorticity signature. Pull this one over here. Here's what we're looking for. So again, this shows up quite nicely in the vorticity. This is again valid at 8 p.m. this evening. You can see Florence right there. You can see the big ridge off to the west. Too bad I don't have a pen. That would be kind of nice. I thought I would have one in here, but I don't. But I believe you could still see the mouse when I'm having it over the screen here. But again, here is Florence right here. Initialized quite nicely. Let me go back over here. So that's this evening. Let me go out to hour 36. And you can see again here that we have lost one of the parameters I was looking for. Let's go back over here, the vorticity. Here we are, hour 36. Again, you can see here is Florence right over here. What's this? Looks like probably about 50 west, 50 west out here. You can see it right there. Nice, showing up in the vorticity. I'm going to jump out a little bit further. I'm going to jump out to hour 108 because I want to start talking about more of the important steering features that are going to be really involved in the forecast here with Florence. So if we jump out here to hour 108, this is Sunday afternoon now. This is when things get really important. You can see Florence circled right in here. You can also begin to note this upper level trough that's starting to come through. And what was forecasted to happen over the last few days, or really since I guess late last week, was Florence was going to develop and then get curved out. But it looks like this trough won't be as deep here southeast of the Canadian Maritimes. So it will not be able to pick up Florence and send it out. And also Florence won't be further enough north to be able to take it out. So it kind of gets trapped there. So that's what it looks like there. Let me go back over here. And let me get, that was hour 108. Let me get hour 132. Hopefully I got the right one. Yes, I did. Now, again, this is where things get interesting. We'll take a look at also some of the other guidance as well. You can see this is next Tuesday, this is next Monday evening. You can see where Florence is here. Now, you also starting to note the ridge is starting to build back over the northeastern part of the United States. And there might be another shortwave trough developing over the Great Lakes and possibly the Ohio Valley early next week, and it's going to be very important to see where Florence is going to be in relationship to the building ridge off to the east of New England, possibly a deepening trough, and the outflow boundaries around Florence. So there's multiple things that the models don't know how to handle very well at this time. So there's our 138. We'll go out to our 156. You can see where we look like at 156. Now this is next Tuesday afternoon. Again, it shows up again quite nicely here. You can see the steering ridge, the 594 decameter ridge off here to the east of Florence. Here is Florence, and then you can see this signature of a trough possibly developing in here to possibly pick Florence up and send it north instead of continuing west towards the southeastern part of the United States. We'll be seeing a more northward turn coming on in this. So this is next Tuesday evening. This is our 156. Let me go out here to our 180. This is next Wednesday evening, so each one of these are 24 hours apart within the model guidance. So basically, you can see here the bend that began to occur. You can see where we have the 594 ridge out to the east of Florence. We have this somewhat trough that has come into the southeast, which has helped to steer Florence north, keeping her off the coast in this particular run. And our 204 looks like this. You can see basically the ridge is up here over southeast Canada, southern Canada. Florence is here, and there might be a sympathetic trough coming in here from the southwest to take Florence up into New England, or possibly staying south of the region. And I believe that was our 204. Wasn't I correct? Yes, so that was our 204. I'll go over here to our 228, and you can basically see that Florence then looks like it backs or even just turns due east after that, and we'll head out to sea. But this is a very, very complex steering pattern for the models to handle. And let me just show you here. I won't go through as many of them on this particular one, but let me just show you the 200 millibar wind pattern, because that's going to be very important. So I'll start this at hour 132. So basically, here's the jet stream level winds, and basically again, here's Florence out here at 60 west. You can see again that trough, that southwest flow aloft, in the ridge here in front, and Florence is coming into that. You can see the trough that missed Florence to pick it up this upcoming weekend. So that's our 132. I'll head over here to our 156. Our 156, again, you can still see Florence here. You can still see that southwest and northeast trough ridge axis coming through the eastern part of the United States. Our 180 looks like this. Again, now things get interesting. It shows up a little bit better on the European because the winds are at a lower scale, but you can still see this here in the wind barbs. You can see how we have the north winds at the jet stream level. That's part of Florence's outflow, upper level ridge. You can see how the model begins to hint at a trough developing possibly, and it will be really interesting to see if this trough that possibly some of the guidance is developing, that think will initialize, and the outflow trough and ridge from the exterior of Florence in the upper levels could be able to phase each other in and then pull the storm directly up. And that's something that the models don't know too much about. So that's a very, very complex steering pattern, to say the least. And then our 204 looks like this. You can see kind of Florence getting caught and possibly getting rejected or coming up. So this is a very, very complex steering pattern for the guidance to handle past a few days. So wait and see on that. Anyway, here's the 18Z GFS and American guidance suite. You can see what it looks like there. Pretty much maintaining a northwest track, and there's Bermuda right there in the center. So Bermuda possibly will get impacted by this, no matter if it turns out or not. So there's again the spaghetti guidance. And finally, we take a look here at the European, and you can see here the European, all of its various tracks, a few of them taken into the south, looks like Florida here, which is actually what the UK Met has. Take a look at the 12Z UK Met and its ensembles. There's plenty of guidance that suggests that is a possibility, but I think a quite low one. And I think that the best way to approach this as a forecaster and a meteorologist is to follow the ensemble mean clusters, which where the most of the clusters are is possibly where the storm is going to end up. As you can see how the variances gets better, and you will, they're still far apart, but they're not as far apart as they were, unlike over here where they're further apart off to the east. So we'll see if it can come in, then go out, come in, continue up, or whatever new ideas that the guidance may continue to suggest as we get closer on in time. But again, this is certainly something to watch and something that I'm currently not too worried about as a landfall anywhere on the East Coast. That's it for now, and thank you for watching.